Welcome to this episode of the Connect series. My name's Nick. Today we're going to talk about the connected grid, and we have special guest Nadim Zaki. He's a manager for our connectivity products, and Michael Schultes, he's a manager for our interface products. So to start out, can you tell me a little bit about what is the connected grid from your perspective?
Yeah, so the grid is really there's three parts to the grid. As far as there's generation, energy generation, which can include sources of kind of renewable, non-renewable sources. And then there's distribution, right? The kind of traditional grid that you think of, power lines kind of going across the country and connecting the generation centers to the consumer. On the consumer side, it can be businesses or residences that actually consume the energy that's generated. And we're seeing a lot of cool new trends in this space.
Okay. So yeah, as we see technology get adopted into the space, what are some of the trends that we're seeing in the connected grid?
Well, the trends you've always seen in grid and infrastructure is reliability and robustness are the most important things, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. But what we are starting to see is more integration. Your traditional e-meters are starting to integrate gas and flow metering. We're starting to ping those meters more often and share more data from more sensors in the infrastructure of the grid. But we're also starting to add to the grid things we didn't have before. We have EV chargers and the ecosystem around those being added to the grid. We're adding more solar energy and renewable and energy storage sources to the grid. So it's growing, and the pieces that have been there traditionally are also adding more information and more sensors and being pinged more often.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. So as we're seeing some of these new products, these new companies or existing companies invest in and help build out the grid, what are some of the challenges that they're seeing from the interface side?
Yeah, so general challenges include, on the energy storage side, just the fact that there are more nodes in the system, including electric vehicles, that can actually store more energy. But also they're consuming energy, right? Traditionally, through combustion vehicles, they're kind of their own energy generating source. Whereas now, with EVs being connected to the grid, we're seeing that they're being more of an energy consumer. But of course, there are also potential advantages of the fact that the EVs are large batteries and become part of that energy storage as part of the broader grid.
Got it. Yeah, so what kind of technologies, protocols, TI investments are happening to address some of those new challenges?
Yeah, so when the challenges come to harsh environments and high temperatures, TI is investing in process nodes that allow us to have Wi-Fi devices that go up to 105 degrees Celsius. We also have the lowest power radios at high temperature performance. In terms of the protocols, we're seeing very fast and accelerated adoption of Wi-SUN, which is a global standard that TI is a member of around the world. And it's really about being able to speak the same language. In some areas it's wireless M-Bus, but TI supports all of those in addition to some of the proprietary protocols that have been a hallmark of the grid in the past. And then we're also pushing to help with that higher bandwidth. We're investing in more OFDM modulation radios, even in our sub 1 gigahertz portfolio, and allowing us to transmit more bandwidth to hit those robust, reliable, and higher bandwidth trends that we're seeing in the connected grid.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. And same thing as you look at the interface side of things, the new challenges there, what are the protocols, technologies, the TI investments that help solve those?
Yeah, absolutely. We, as Nadim said, we continue to invest in new technologies, technology nodes, so that we can develop new products to support both existing and new protocols. So on the wired side of things, there are protocols like UART or SPI that are traditionally used, and we have devices like voltage translators that will allow subsystems to communicate properly between devices, even in some cases between a central processor and a wireless radio. And then there's also CAN and RS-485 type interfaces that have been used in grid, whether it be e-meter or solar inverters, that we have solutions for as well. So we have both isolated and non-isolated transceivers to ensure that the communication is not lost, and that each of the microinverters can communicate with the grid directly. And these are just a few of the solutions that we have. We have a huge portfolio of devices to support all of these protocols. And then one of the other challenges is high voltage. And so I come from the isolation product line, and we're continuing to develop isolated protocol devices. So isolated RS-45, isolated CAN, or just isolated GPIO type devices that will enable us to support these higher voltages, whether it be on the EV side with high voltage batteries, EV charging, or on solar inverters up to 1500 volts plus. We're seeing these kind of trends. And so we have these isolation solutions to be able to address the high voltage that we're seeing in the grid.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. No, it's exciting to hear about the evolution of this space, and especially both from kind of a wired and interface perspective and a wireless connectivity perspective. Anything else to add about the connected grid space or your products or technologies?
I think a couple things we didn't mention on the protocol side. We're supporting Wi-Fi 6, Matter, OCPP, some of these standards that are going to help put framework for the new EV charging and solar ecosystems that are going to build out around the residential grid. We're also incorporating more security modules into the hardware of our radios as the security needs of our customers, especially those in the grid, are increasing. We're trying to give you a security layer at the hardware level to help enable them to have more secure solutions for the grid.
Okay.
Yeah, and on the wired side, we want to make sure that we're providing the breadth of portfolio so that any customer can come and find a part. We have literally thousands of parts to address every solution, every end equipment in the grid. And so providing solutions to our customers in order to allow them to ultimately solve problems for their customers, right? Which we are their customers as well. That's something that we want to support at the end of the day, and making sure that both the wireless and the wired side, our portfolios kind of fit together to come together to make a solution that works for everyone.
Got it. Well, thank you both again for joining us and talking through that. As I said, I'm personally excited to watch it evolve. Thank you all for joining us on this episode of the Connect series. As always, stay tuned. We have more exciting topics coming up, and you can find all the information about the products and technologies at ti.com.